thanks for that introduction and welcome. Good morning, colleagues, and glad to be among you and to talk a bit about Gold Star families and the Gold Star program. And really the presentation's got two main parts to it. The first part is the education, awareness, information piece. The second part is the practical application. What can we do to help honor Gold Star families? So with that, let's get right into it. One of these might look familiar. The Gold Star symbol has its beginnings back to World War I. And so in World War I, families displayed small banners with a blue star for every immediate family member serving in the armed forces. And if their service member died in service, the family replaced the blue star with a gold star. And the gold star let the community know that their service member died or was killed while serving their country. And so you may have seen the Gold Star banner as a parking stanchion at the commissary, the BX. A lot of us are familiar with at least seeing the symbol. And these are symbols that represent something very deep. Someone has given the ultimate sacrifice. And so there are family members who remember, and we want to, as Chaplain Corps RSTs, honor and remember as well. And so part of what I want to show you are these symbols that you can see that will make you aware of what the Gold Star program is about and symbols associated. So one of the main symbols is the actual Gold Star flag or banner. The other is the service flag or banner. And so the Gold Star is there. So that's one of them, and it goes back to World War I. Okay, next slide. Another symbol that you will see that is associated is the Gold Star lapel pin. And there's a picture of it there. So the Gold Star lapel button, also known as the Gold Star pin, was established in 1947 to honor the families of military service members who lost their lives while serving in the armed forces of the United States. And there's some different categories about who is authorized to receive the Gold Star lapel pin. So there's different categories mentioned there and some specifics and laws and codes, but what it amounts to is this one is for those individuals who were on active duty at the time of death, killed in action. And so then there's also the next of kin pin, and that's another symbol that you might see. So the next of kin lapel pin, next slide please. It's called the next of kin lapel button, but it's also known as the next of kin pin, and it was approved in 1973 to honor the families of military service members who died while serving on active duty or while serving in a drill status as a member of the National Guard or Reserves, but not due to being killed in action. And so this pin provided the immediate family members of the fallen service members who meet the eligibility criteria. It serves as a symbol of recognition and appreciation for their loved one's service and sacrifice to the nation. While it is distinct from the Gold Star lapel button, both pins hold significant meaning for the families of service members who have given their lives in service to the country. So that's a bit about the background. And when I was asked to present this information, it was to create awareness, to share the message, to explain some things, because it wasn't until later on in my career that I even learned the details about the Gold Star program. I didn't really know exactly what it was. And so I learned about it over time, and it's important that we know what it is, especially as RSTs, because we are in a position to be able to honor and remember and help support families in our local area and beyond. And part of my presentation is to help raise that awareness for us, if you don't already know. And then also, as I was working on this presentation, teammates at the Air Force IMSC helped me put it together. And I learned that one of my colleagues, his sister, is a Gold Star spouse. And you learn about things as you go along. And so as I learned that, I wondered, well, how many of us here in this room right now, and I'm not going to ask you to recognize yourselves, but how many in this room here right now are Gold Star family members? Maybe you've received one of these, the Gold Star lapel pin, the Gold Star the next of kin lapel pin perhaps, or if you didn't receive the pin because you're not on that eligibility criteria list for that type of presentation, nonetheless you're impacted because, like my colleague, maybe you're a sibling of, and so therefore you're still part of the Gold Star family, and it impacts you. And so there's a lot of ways that this could touch us, and so in a room with people this many, there's bound to be several who are Gold Star family members in one level or another. And so we want to honor and remember. Okay, so the next slide, please. This is getting into some of the specifics, and I want to spend kind of most of the time that I have remaining on this. Actually, there's only one other slide, and it's the references, and you can look at that and get some ideas of how to find out more about the different ways you can support. But how can we honor our Gold Star families? You see a picture there. That is a picture. It's kind of tiny, but it's a picture of a Gold Star banner with a memorial plaque that's hanging in the Peterson Space Force Base Chapel. And I was there when we installed it. It's installed permanently on a wall in the chapel. And that was at the direction of my commander. And so important to remember that whenever we're talking about doing things like that, we want to make sure we're commander-driven. Talk to your installation commander, especially if it's going to be something permanent like that, or some of the other ideas and suggestions on how we can help support Gold Star families. These would involve things that you want to talk to your leadership about, so make sure to reach out to your commander. But to start it off, identify and get to know Gold Star families. Well, how do you do that? How do you get to know the Gold Star families? That was a big question I was trying to answer myself, because my commander asked me to do that very thing, because he wanted me to be a liaison between our command and the Gold Star families in our area, and he wanted me to bring the families in when we did events and other things and recognize them, just get to know them. And I thought, well, how do I do that? And so I started reaching out to the community, and there are local Gold Star associations. Every service is required to have, and we've been involved in some of these through notifications and so forth, but every service is required to have something set up. And so the Air Force calls our program the Air Force Families Forever, and that's our Gold Star families are part of that Air Force Families Forever, and that's in your Military and Family Readiness Center. There will be a POC that is somebody that you could reach out to directly and ask, who are the Gold Star families on our installation? Or maybe they are living in the area. Who are the Gold Star families connected to this installation in this local area? And they may give you names, or they may, if you have an event you're wanting to invite them to, because that's a way to involve them as well, in banquets, events, other things to invite Gold Star families. Whatever you would like to do, you can pass that information to the POC, then they can pass it out to the families, and then the families can RSVP directly with you. Well, when they do that, now you've kind of worked your lead generation list, and you've got the names yourself, and then you can just keep their names and numbers and start contacting them directly, because they've shown interest in a linkage there and they want to have a relationship. So you can get to know them that way. That's one way that you can reach out and find out even who among us is in this situation. And then invite the families to events. That's a great way to raise awareness and to let others see these Gold Star families, and for them to stay connected to the service. And you might have Gold Star families that are not Air Force. They might be Army, Navy, Marines, because once they are a Gold Star family, they may live near you, maybe not where the service member was. And so you may find that you have Gold Star families in your area that are from different services, and that's pretty cool too. And so they will be able to come to your events, and you can invite them, talk to them, get to know them. And that's another thing to keep in mind. It's beyond just the Department of the Air Force. When we talk about this is a DoD level program. And so every service has their own program that they're running. And again, Air Force calls it Air Force Families Forever. But then we look down the list. Let's see, several of these things, the hanging of the flag or banner in the chapel is something that we've done. You can raise the Gold Star flag at the Gold Star Mother's Day, Gold Star Spouses Day, somewhere on the installation. One is in the spring, one is in the fall. I've been a part of that. We've invited families out, kind of done a little ceremonial raising of the flag, and that's been very meaningful. Educating, helping authorized recipients obtain a Gold Star family member ID card. That's a special entitlement. If they're Gold Star families, they're entitled to an ID card to be able to get on base. And so maybe that access might be limited to certain things, but you can help them get that. And so you can work with the families directly and the security forces and others who might be part of that process. Educating others like I'm doing now, talking about it. Being aware when to consult a grief specialist. You know, we need to know our limits. We're working with families, and they may need some of that specific type of help. And then helping minimize the impact of the media presence at funerals, and certainly the need to be aware of the public interest in a loss such as this. So those are just some things, the ways that we as RSTs, as part of these teams that we're part of, how we can help honor the families. These last few things are things that I was given directly from a Gold Star family member on practical ways that we can support families. And they said there are several key points along the way where we can reach out and give our skilled care and support to families. And you can see them there. When being notified, it's vital they get the information in the correct manner. When remains are received at the local airport or base, at the funeral itself, the planning and delivery at the graveside, in providing follow-up care and counseling, and paying attention to anniversaries. These are all types of things that we can do to help honor the Gold Star families. And then when they're ready, they may want to share their story, and we can provide a venue for that. I think when we do things like putting the Gold Star flag in our chapel and having a ceremony on the installation and inviting Gold Star families in, that elevates the chapel, and that elevates awareness of the chapel. And so it's a good thing that we can do to honor Gold Star families and also help expand our influence and our ministries to the installation and beyond, because this goes into the local communities. So the last slide just has some resources. You can take a look there, but the one that I want to really foot stomp for us is your Military and Family Readiness Center has an Air Force Families Forever POC in the office there. That's who you want to talk to, because they're going to be able to get you in touch or at least push your announcement out to the families. Besides that, there's also Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Gold Star programs, and you can see the websites there, and you can go online, and I would encourage you just to reach out to them as well. There might be some from those services in your local area. There's also the Gold Star Mothers Association, and then there's Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, another great resource. So I commend all of these to you, and I encourage you to get to know the local Gold Star families in your area. And if you are a Gold Star family member here, we remember and we honor. Thank you.